Erev Tov Chavrim, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Well, it is finally official after months ago when we shared with you on Israeli News Live that the U.S. was going to open a base in Israel. That news has finally come out. It's on several different websites already, but on Now the End Begins, they have an article here that says, "Stroke of Genius. President Trump authorizes opening of the first ever American military base in Israel." Israel and the U.S. inaugurated the first American military base on Israeli soil on Monday, which will serve dozens of soldiers operating a missile defense system. The move comes at a time of growing Israeli concerns about the arch enemy, Iran's development of long-range missiles. Together with the U.S., Israel has developed a multi-layered system of defenses against everything from long-range guided missile attacks from Iran to crude rockets fired from Lebanon and the Gaza Strip. Now, we shared with you guys on Israeli News Live back in December 7th, 2016. Right here is a date on here from last year about the U.S. going to put a base inside of Israel. Now, this was reported because of and let me just share, I'll just share briefly just a little bit of the comment here that I said about this. Erev Tov Chavrim, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You are watching Israeli News Live. Got some breaking news going on every direction you can possibly imagine. According to Middle East Monitor, as you see on your screen, U.S. to establish a military base in Israel. Yes, you're seeing exactly, of course, the picture here, image of a U.S. military base. It's not necessarily the one in Israel there. They're talking about building one in Haifa. The article states here the U.S. I'll kind of pause it for now as far as that goes there, but we had shared that with you back December 7, 2016, that they would indeed build a U.S. military base in Israel. There is a memo that was released by Washington that obviously was obvious that a base would actually be brought to the Israeli soil. Now, I had a bit of I'm kind of like two-sided on this. One, I appreciate the fact that the U.S. military is there to protect the Israeli government against any outside threats such as Hezbollah or that of Iran. But then I'm also concerned as well that the U.S. military is playing into the hands of Rome to carry out their own ambitions, especially after the fact this announcement came not long after this aid package by Barack Obama was given to Israel. And that was where the agreement was that the U.S. would be able to build a base inside of Israel. Now, this particular base is on an existing Israeli base inside of the country. And of course, the location is not being disclosed, but it is a small hand of American troops that will be there, but manning or missile defense shield inside of Israel. That kind of gives me some great concerns as well. Not so much that the U.S. is there doing that. I appreciate that to protect Israel. But it lets me know that something is about to go down with Iran. And one article that you guys are probably familiar with anyway, at least from other stories in the English language, but this one here back in May in the Russian language, where the Russians had been able to pick up from their own sources that Jared Kushner had been meeting secretly with the Saudis in order to actually work on trying to get nuclear weapons into the Saudi government. The article here states in the Russian language here, if you begin to read this article here, talks about that they had inside sources and that Jared Kushner was working on trying to get the missiles to the Saudis there in order for there to be a limited nuclear exchange between that of the Saudis and the Iranians there. And the U.S. felt like that they could pull this off pretty much in a safe way. I don't see there's any safety as far as that goes, but nonetheless, it was a story that came out in English news as well. And but then there comes another twist to this altogether. Now we see that the U.S. is now sending over, that just came out today, RT is reporting the U.S. is sending over 3,000 new U.S. troops headed to Afghanistan. That's the latest from the Pentagon, saying that they're sending 3,000 more troops to Afghanistan. Well, if you put all this together, you put on the secret meetings that were going on with the Saudis, dealing with trying to get nuclear weapons to the Saudis with a possible launch or a strike on Iran,
it seems then to really kind of come together and realize there's something bigger going on. If Israel is getting the U.S.'s help and getting a missile defense shield inside the country, no doubt the THAAD missile system being in place there to help protect against the Iranians as well as Hezbollah, and only the Heavenly Father knows we would definitely need that type of protection for the Israeli people. And so, again, I appreciate the U.S. in this regards here. But in the long run, I can certainly see Rome's hand playing in all of this altogether. But let's take a look at what's going on, though. If Iran is going to be the target here that's going to be taken down, then we have to keep in mind Israel's being well protected, or at least helped to be protected by the U.S. as well as Israel's own military. That lets us know then if Jared Kushner was working out a deal with the Saudis to try to launch an attack on the Iranians, there may be more of a possibility working together or concern that Iran is going to try to launch an attack against Israel. Either way, I think it's going to be a preemptive strike, could be a staged event, but Iran is definitely fixing to come into play here. The U.S. getting ready. Afghanistan on the east side of Iran. They're putting in the troops over there, getting ready as well on the eastern flank there. We already have U.S. forces in Iraq, in Syria. We have U.S. forces in Saudi, in the Persian Gulf here. It's definitely looking like a showdown is coming, and I believe this is why we're seeing a limited U.S. base inside of Israel. And again, it is a defense missile shield system that is being placed there. So undoubtedly, there is a strong anticipation of something bigger coming on the horizon. Could be that Syria is going to be drawn into a tighter war here. Could be that they're planning on trying to take Russia out of the picture here in Syria, which naturally would bring Iran involved into this situation, not only the Russians there. So no doubt why the U.S. has put a base inside of Israel. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Erev Tov.
Shalom Chaverim, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. Wanted to take an opportunity with you guys today to share with you what I consider to be an incredible compilation of sacred scriptures put together by my good friends Dr. Stephen Pidgeon and Brad Hudkins over at the Sefer Publishing Group. They've spent years painstakingly bringing back this incredible work with the Tanakh and the Brit Chadashah, both Old and New Testaments, and also restoring some of those sacred Hebrew scriptures that were left out, like the book of Enoch, the book of Jasher, the book of Jubilees, and many others as well. And you can get this book today if you order it at sefer.net and include the code INL for Israeli News Live and get an additional discount from your order. So get yours today, sefer.net.